Welcome to podcast number 250. What is it? Is it 257? The question that I have for you today is, have you scaled your lean systems and your last planner systems to your company, to your projects in a standardized way? Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I've got two guests here. I'm actually in the field verified office in Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, I think we're in Mesa. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check that, but we're here. And we're in the office, and I just got done touring John and Jake. Say hi if you want.
How we doing? Hello.
And they came down from Oregon. What you said, Salem or not?
Salem, Oregon.
Salem, Oregon, yeah. And we toured some big projects down here. Came by the Field Verified office because they're a lean company. Had breakfast and lunch, probably too close together. Sorry about that. But we've been talking about lean systems and the things that they're doing. So we figured we'd get on a quick little podcast here for you and publish that so that we can just share this little journey. It was so cool. I figured that we'll get on a quick podcast. So before, let's do a quick introduction. John, a quick introduction, Jake, and then I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to say, what are you excited about in life right now? And we'll go from there. So John, we'll start with you. No pressure, except we're all staring at you.
Well, again, my name is John Sladick, and we're from Salem, Oregon. And I work for Rich Duncan Construction, a commercial contractor. And I just want a big shout out to my wife, Michelle, and all my kids, grandkids, and my pastor, Pastor Hearn in Kaiser, Oregon. And I'm just real happy to be here today. And with Jason, and we're just going to be talking about some things here.
Yep, and you're a career superintendent. So right now you're a senior superintendent on your project sites. You do a lot of training, right? Anything else by way of role that you want to explain?
Just a job site superintendent. I really enjoy what I do. I'm excited about it. I love the challenge.
I love it. All right, let's go. Let's do this, Jake.
As you know, my name is Jake Sladick, and I am from Salem, Oregon, and I work for Mike Riddle Construction as a project manager for all the custom remodels. And like John said, a shout out to the family back in Salem. And one thing that I'm excited about learning the new processes of lean construction and getting better in all the systems that we're coming up with to make construction great again.
I love that. So real quick, just I didn't get you, so I got Jake, but what are you excited about right now? John, what, like in life, just something that you're jazzed about?
Well, I'm real excited about these trips that we started taking last year and just seeing how other people do it.
Yep.
I always take home some nuggets and can change some things the way I do my job, always for the better. And so I'm just excited to be down in Phoenix, Arizona, for a couple days and to see how other people run their jobs and learn more about lean.
Yeah, I love it. It was perfect this morning. We went to a big $247 million project, a podium and a tower. They had a basement there. And it was interesting because, John, when you said, hey, let's go around, I had scheduled as soon as I found out you were doing that you wanted to come down and share and talk about some of these things. I scheduled a trip over there, but I hadn't been there before. The people there are fantastic. And I probably shouldn't mention the name, but they're one of my favorite companies, so you could probably guess who it was. But we went there this morning. Warm welcome, great people, loaned us some PPE. We go out there and go through the COVID-19 check-in stations, and music is playing. They got some jamming music. All the workers are gathering up, and they get up on this little podium kind of platform thing and go through a morning worker huddle to educate everybody. It was just a beautiful thing. Then we walked through the project site, and they use lean systems. And John, you sent some pictures. What did your kids say when they saw the pictures?
Well,
Or did you send them to your kids?
yeah, I sent them to my oldest son and my son-in-law, and actually I put a couple pictures on the family text, and the comments that were coming back were, "Oh, that's a very clean site."
Yeah.
And number one, I'm glad they noticed that.
I love that.
And they're all getting into this lean concepts too.
I love it. That's fantastic. No, and so we went through and we toured the job. It was nice and clean, a conscientious group. There were pretty young leaders there too. And then we went into their foreman huddle. That was pretty neat to watch. They're adjusting some systems, but their visuals were over the top. And there's just a happy, good feel there. Really operationally stable project. So they came down to check that out. Like I said, Field Verified is, if you ever want to check out a cool lean company with some neat things in their shop, come out here and check them out. Their culture is 10 times as good as I'm explaining it. They've got a great team. And so we've done this, and we've been shadowing each other, learning from each other. And we said, hey, let's do a podcast, because one of the main things that John's done is created what you call a 10-7 board, right? And I don't want to steal most of our time here, but on there, he's got the master schedule, his roadblocks or the constraints, right? Milestones, the parking lot, the PPC tracker, the weekly work, but also make ready work planning boards out ahead, and then the PPC graphic, and then also reminders for, what did you call it? It was times.
Times.
Yeah. So what could you remember the acronym?
It stands for tools, information, materials, manpower, safety, and space to work in.
That's awesome. Times. So I like that. I'm going to start. That's not copyrighted. I can use that, can I?
I got that from a Georgia trip.
Okay.
To Georgia. Actually, it's in that book that I gave you.
I love it. Well, I'll definitely make sure to steal that and give credit where credit is due. So he's created these boards, and so he calls them the 10-7 boards. The 10 is they're 10 feet long, right? And then the 7 is those 7 bullet points. So let me ask you a question. Can you tell me kind of what was the genesis of creating those boards and adapting these lean and last planner systems to your company, to your jobs? What was kind of the beginning there?
Well, I think the core of it was that our company wants to get better.
Yeah.
We want to do things better. We want to improve. We wanted to adapt the lean concepts to our company. As we started looking at lean and lean concepts, it seemed to be mostly used on larger jobs, million dollar projects. We do a lot smaller projects, but as I got into it and more that I read about it and experienced it, I wanted to be able to take it and adapt the systems to some of our smaller jobs. Smaller jobs move quicker, so you've got to be even more organized. There's less time to react. And so, after about a year and a half of trying this, trying that, learning more about lean, we did come up with, 10 feet of board, which is basically we're limited with space on a lot of our projects. And so that's where the 10 feet of board came from, and the 7 bullet points that fit on that 10 feet of board that we could have our sub meetings with. Yeah. And we go through in our sub meetings each bullet point, which basically organizes the job and helps us run it way more efficiently than just the common uses of the industry.
I love that. And the other thing is it scales that communication to as much as it can be to the foreman and the workers. It creates a nice visual lean system. I love that. What was the book? I have the book here. What's the book called that you first got you hooked up with lean?
I think it's called Lean.
Lean.
And
okay.
It's by Charles Garbet out of Georgia.
Oh, here it is. Lean Construction, a small contractor's journey. And yeah, Charles Garbet. I like that. So I think I picked this up a while back and went through here. It's if anybody wants to read this, especially if you want to know a small contractor's journey, which is, so just so you know, for the podcast, I get properly accused a lot of only talking about big jobs. And people are always, well, how do you do that on smaller ones? So a little bit of feedback for you, John, is like, and you probably already know this, but the people that do these smaller jobs actually have quite a bit more experience than those of us who have done big jobs, because you've seen it all and done it all, right? The difference is how many people you scale that to and how many people we interact with every day and the size of the contracts, right? And the determination and courage we have to get all those people moving in the same direction. But you know, in essence, you've probably got a harder gig than the rest of us. I heard one time somebody say big jobs tend to run themselves. They tend to either run or ruin themselves, but I don't know if it's that simple, but I respect what you're doing. So if anybody wants to read, this is 108 pages here, real good book on that journey. I recommend it because you've recommended it and it's really improved. So what were some of the differences that you saw when you started to teach these lean principles to your supers and use the 10-7 board on site?
Number one, I guess the biggest thing is just the collaboration.
Okay.
When getting in the meeting, getting with all the trade partners together, and as a superintendent, I felt through all the years that I had to know everything. I had to be able to answer every question. I had to know everything about everything, and I didn't. But in this situation, when you get everyone in the room, it's more of I'm facilitating the meeting, and I don't need to know all the answers, because when the plumber asks a question about the electrician or where the electrician's going to be at, or even electrician questions, I can just look over and the electrician is right there in the room also. He answers the questions.
I think that's brilliant.
And so it really was an eye-opener of how much more we could produce and how much easier, less chaos, confusion, and conflict when we planned all together. We came up with our weekly goals together. We planned the job, and everybody was there to answer the questions.
Yeah. I love that. You know, one of the things that you talk about all the time that I haven't hit enough on, but I think is brilliant, is the concept of your roadblock board being pertinent to the project manager and the project director executive. If it's on the board, it means the super or the on-site team. Well, I'm stealing your words here, but one thing you taught me was if by virtue of it being on the board means that the super needs help with it. And so if the PM, and I'm not being critical, but if the PM and director don't come into the trailer and naturally know that's something they should participate in, here's a call to action, right? Is that, you know, if they could handle it themselves, it probably wouldn't be on the board.
Right.
You know?
Right,
So
exactly.
I really appreciate that. And by making that a visual system and a standard, even the fact that you have a 10-7 board, it makes you ask, okay, I know 10 means 10 feet, but now you've got people focused on what are the 7 things, right? Master schedule, milestones, your roadblock board, your parking lot, your PPC, you know, your 3-week look ahead, and obviously your other graphics. I think even just the fact that there's 7 bullet points triggers us to look in that direction. I think it's pretty neat. So I want to ask you a direct question here, and this is just off the top of your head. If there are people out there that say, you know, hey, I'm listening to Schroeder's podcast, I like it. I've enjoyed this couple of minutes when we were talking about, you know, small contractors. What would be some advice that you could give from your lean journey to anybody out there who may be applying this on smaller jobs? What advice would you give for implementing lean?
Well, what I've found out in the last couple years is take what you learned from lean and adapt it to your particular situation.
I love it.
Again, all contractors are, I believe, in different categories. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying good or bad contractors. I'm just saying that there's a lot of different types of construction.
Yeah.
but the lean concepts themselves as the core concepts can be adapted, I believe, into anything.
Yeah.
Any size job, any type of construction. And so don't stay in the box when you're reading about lean or learning about lean and say different things like, well, this isn't, I can't do this, or I can't get these subs to attend meetings, or I can't have a meeting, or this won't work, that won't work. Take the concepts, learn the concepts, and take it and customize it to what you're doing, and start as soon as possible. Just start doing it, and then you can adjust it as you go.
I love that. You know, as you were talking to me today, and I don't think I'll put it on a separate podcast, I think I'll mention it here. A lot of people get hung up on the tools and the visuals, and they're like, well, how should I do this or that? And then some people, not you, get tipped over because, you know, one job's less planner boards or visual workplace looks different than this person's, and they have different. This person uses visual boards. This person uses, you know, an Excel sheet. This person uses software, and people can freak out about that. No, when we go audit these systems, the question is, can they see flow? Are they collaborating together? Are they getting total participation, right? Are they able to hold each other accountable and build a culture of commitment? And if they are, don't tease them, not you, but
Right.
Don't tease them too much about the visuals they're using. And so what you've done is set an example of, okay, here are these things I learned in Georgia and in this book, Lean Construction, right? I'm going to adapt them to my company. I think that's great. Let me ask you a question. I'll start with you, Jake. From our visit today, and most of the things you're learning today are probably from just the tours. What's the biggest thing that stood out to you today that you're thinking that you're going to implement back home, or that you thought was neat and helpful?
I think the biggest thing that I learned today was sitting down with Jason here and going over systems for the whiteboard to customize them to even a smaller scale project, as in, you know, a $50,000 remodel, kitchen remodel, which he walked me through several steps of things that we can put on a whiteboard that could fit inside of, you know, a dining room, you know, small enough, but still have all the adequate information for the subs, for the client, for the crew members that work for the company. And I think that is the biggest takeaway that I've taken so far, is walking through that process with Jason and getting all of his advice on that.
And so your boards have the schedule on them, and then you have checklists for crews to install to, right? And I think what we said was visual checklists, right? And then also key areas that the owner, that are really important to the owner, outlining those so that the people can be successful. What was John, do you remember the suggestion you gave for his boards out there?
The selection.
Oh yeah, the selection of materials, and and also anything that's changing that you have to be nimble with on the project, giving them updates so they're not building according to old information.
Right.
So one of the things that Jake deals with, and this just shows that all of these systems are fractal. They can all be scaled to different sizes. You know, Jake might tour to 2 or 3 projects in a day. He uses these boards to go publish and update the schedule, then show these quality, what I call feature of work boards or feature of work checklists, and communicate. And your owners, and feel free to share that when I'm done and I shut up over here, but your owners have commented on them. You do that to communicate, because you then have to go to a different project. And I would say that anybody can do those same things. Ask ourselves, how can we enable our trade partners to be successful through visual and self-sustaining systems where I don't have to be here all the time, and increase that amount of communication? Do you want to share some of the feedback you've gotten from some of those boards you use?
Yeah, so just recently, we put a whiteboard on one of our projects. It was the first time we did it, so it didn't really look the best, and there was a lot of flaws, but it was a step in the right direction, and the clients loved it. They made a lot of comments on it, and it basically just had a few items on it: the full schedule, phone number for who was running the project, scope of work, a 3-week schedule, And I believe those were the only items that were on there. And then I got a call a few weeks later when we finished that project from a potential client that I went and met with. And they had mentioned that they wanted a whiteboard on their project because they had heard from the client that we installed it originally how it had brought a sense of organization to the project. And the potential clients we were dealing with, money's a big deal to them, yes, but organization in their project, they're willing to pay more money for the more organization. And that's a little bit of the feedback that we have gotten so far from using these whiteboards. The clients really, really love it.
That's a good point. In a survey, I think one of the big companies I have been around, for a long time, did a survey with their customers, and 85% of them said, out of all the metrics of construction, how they got there was one of the most important ones. One time I had, it's interesting, for field engineer training, I once designed software and a website. I designed a website, not like the one I have here, but like a fully functional training website. And I reflected on that all I really wanted was somebody to take that journey with me. We were going to get to the end either way, but how easy were they making it on me? And I found myself wanting updates. So even the fact that you posted that number and they just know who to call if they have trouble is probably half the battle right there. That's genius. So thank you for your input, Jake. So let me ask you that same question. What was the coolest thing we did today together as we're touring these jobs and thinking about these things?
Well, I guess one of the things is just going to a $250 million job and touring the job, just coming out of the ground, was very exciting for me. Seeing just that many guys being able to work together, and the meeting in the morning with all the workers, and then a little bit later the morning huddle with the foremans and superintendents and stuff. And basically they're talking, going through the same things that I do in my meetings. It's just scaled down, smaller.
Yep.
And I saw that collaboration and different things, and it just encouraged me to keep doing what I'm doing. And then also actually just being able to meet you, Jason, because I think a lot of my passion is lines up with your passion. And we just wanted to get down here after we found your podcast and found your book and meet you. And I just really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. And, if anybody wants to kind of hear more about his 10-7 boards or some of the things that he's doing, let me know. Or is there a way that they can get a hold of you? Is it just through LinkedIn, or how would you like me to pass them your way? How could the people get?
You can send them my way.
So if anybody has any thoughts and wants to talk to somebody, in the trenches right now doing this, taking their lean journey, let me know. I've thought it's been a really fun day. I'm super impressed how every time we talk, we can talk about flow and limiting work in progress and one-piece flow and these concepts, and it immediately, improves our day. Like we were talking earlier, Jake and I were talking about how if when he goes to projects, or the people he's teaching goes to a project in these residential jobs, if he can set up a little mobile command center in the vehicle and then take care of any reports, print anything out, get a little mobile printer in the vehicle, and actually just do everything that needs to be done there before going to the second job, that's going to at least save 30 minutes. Probably, to your point, John, that's going to save an hour and a half of not having to switch the context, get out of state, go into a different circumstance, have to remember what was going on, right? If in everything that we do, we can get more into the one-piece flow mentality, limit our work in progress, right? So once we finish those reports, that work is done, But when we go to 3 jobs and we have 3 jobs worth of reports, we have 3 jobs of work in progress all throughout the day. That was probably one of my favorite things today, is that we talk about how scalable some of these things are and how these lean principles apply no matter where they go. So I'm going to do something kind of fun as we close this out. I'll give you like 1 or 2 sentences, max paragraph. What would be your advice for anybody on their lean journey? I'm cut.
I would say get started now.
Oh, I love that. He got it into one sentence. Jake, I'm putting you on the spot. I love doing that.
Don't get nervous. Just start it.
I like it. I like it. You know, and I will not give any better advice than that. But I would say there's lots of resources out there. Get started, but also get a mentor. There are people that will take this journey with you. And we've had a lot of fun. So I just want to say thank you both for being a shining example of not saying, hey, here's a system and it doesn't exactly apply to me, I give up on it. But I want to praise you for saying, here's a system, I'm going to custom tailor it to my project, to my circumstances, and to my people, my culture, my region, everything, my company. And so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Jason.
And we're going to have some fun. So on the count of three, you know what we say. 1, 2, 3, on we go.
On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word